evening. Welcome to another election stream. It is March 3rd, 2026. And this is the first stream of the year. Another election stream. It is March 3rd. And we're starting pretty much right on time. We're going to let it fill in here. We've got about 30 minutes before the main event in Texas. But I do hear that some of the polling could stay open later, so we could be here a little while. But it's Texas, it's also Arkansas, it's North Carolina. Those two kind of lower priority here. And it's also the 4th anniversary of this channel today. Been doing it 4 years. So we're going to combine everything kind of into one stream here, a community hangout. And that's what we're going to do for at least a couple of hours, probably 3, maybe 4. We'll see what happens. But it is primary season, and we're about to get back into doing the primaries and probably a few streams here and there. It all depends. Can't do every stream, but we're going to try to do some when it works. And today's the first one. And just like 4 years ago, Texas kicked everything off. First primary of the year. It's kind of early. I mean, these nominees are going to be sitting there for a little while before the general election. So we're going to see what happens. Wait for people to get in here. Probably see some regulars, some new people. It's all good stuff. We'll follow the action. We could talk about the channel. Some of you have been here for 2 or 3 years or more. We want to see what's going to happen here in Texas. Of course, both sides have action. And we're going to see if there's going to be a runoff, probably with the Republicans, not so much with the Dems. There's also North Carolina, a little bit of action there, but not a ton. Big Senate race as well, but not a lot of suspense on what's going to happen. There's also Arkansas, but I don't think anything of note is really happening here. So, 3 states, and we'll follow what happens. So, welcome aboard to everybody that is here for another stream. Usually try to do them on a lot of the primaries. And didn't want to miss this one for the 4 years of the channel. So again, it's everything in one stream. So, sure everybody's busy as always. Work, school, family issues, all that stuff. Hello? You're the first one in here, so welcome aboard. Let's get back to Texas here. What's going on here with Cornyn and Paxton? Is Cornyn going to pull it out at the end? Or no way, Paxton. He's the guy. What about Crockett? Tallarico. Tallarico, way more electable, right? But does Crockett have some kind of hidden energy behind the scenes? We'll find out. I have to pull up. Gotta get the markets going here. The markets show it's clearly going to be Paxton and Tallarico. But every once in a while, the markets are wrong. So let's see what we've got here. Here is predicted. Paxton at 79, Cornyn at 21. It's pretty convincing, but that's not a guarantee. Cornyn, he could have that establishment energy that just pushes him over the line. He's got all the funding. He's got all the connections. And here's Tallarico and Crockett. Tallarico at 88, so that's overwhelming. We'll come back to that. Again, the polls here close at the top of the hour, but apparently there have been some extensions somewhere. Possibly the Dallas area. We'll have to see what we've got here on New York Times. Anyway, thank you, old man. Thanks for the 4 years. I know you've been around for, I don't know, maybe half of it, maybe a little less. Um, you saw the 22 Senate prediction video. You mean the final prediction for the right before the midterms? I have to think back on. I know that one had a couple misses in there because yeah, Dems overperformed in that one. Pennsylvania and New Hampshire. I know that. Texas. I don't even think there was a race there. There wasn't even a race in Texas in 22. It was 20, 24, 26, and 18, 20, 24, 26. Um, so yeah, let's hang out. Let's do a stream. I don't know how many people are gonna get in here. It's been kind of real sporadic and haphazard, and it's impressive that I can even get out here and do a stream. There's been so much going on, but trying to keep the channel going. And this is the first one. It's the 4 years. I'm probably gonna say that a bunch of times. After this, the next primary I should be Illinois in a couple weeks. The next one that's of any note. Mississippi on the 10th, Illinois on the 17th. Might be able to do the Illinois one, and we'll go from there. Not much really going on here in April. And then it really kicks off once we get into May. But these early primaries, some people like them. I kind of think it's a little bit too early. I'd like to see maybe a May or June primary. So much could change. You could become the nominee, then there could be all kinds of stuff that could come out. And then sometimes you might be stuck with a candidate. So there's some down ballot races as well. Um, let's see. Here's the 33rd, Colin Allred. He's making a comeback. He's trying to. He's taking on incumbent Julie Johnson at the 33rd. Remember, this map kind of redrawn. So keep that in mind. It could come back to haunt Republicans if it turns out to be a big blue wave. Bernie Sanders, hey. Yep, you're usually here for the streams. It's good stuff. So not a whole lot going on right now. But what what's everybody taking a look at tonight? Is there some down ballot race that's crucial? Because I haven't followed a ton of the down ballot stuff. There's just way too many races that are going to be completely insignificant after the primary. Maybe Arkansas is your state. Maybe you're looking at that state. Sarah Sanders unopposed, Fred Love in a primary. And, when there's a name you can't pronounce, I think that's a bad sign for that candidate. Not always, but if I don't know anything, I'm gonna bet against the unusual name. And Tom Cotton. Seeing any danger? I don't think so. The days of Mark Pryor and 2010 and 12 and 8, those days are done here. in Arkansas. Blanche Lincoln, remember her? And how about Roy Cooper? Is he going to be the next senator from North Carolina? Or is it going to be Michael Watley? And keep in mind, we've got runoffs here in Texas. That would be in late May. And it's probable it's going to be the Republicans headed there because they've got a three-way race with three candidates probably at least going to crack 10% on all three of them, unless something totally nuts happens. The Dems, this candidate here, I don't think they're polling pretty well at all. So it could be Crockett. It could be Tallarico. It's probably going to be Tallarico. We'll see. Hunt for the Senate. Well, I thought Hunt was not a bad pick, really, a couple of months ago when he got in. A few months back, I thought he might have been the good consensus pick between the establishment and Paxton. He didn't seem to have a ton of baggage. He was young. And I thought he could have made some progress. I guess it was just a little bit too late. And he was unable to get over the hump unless there's a huge surge for him. Because he's going to get some decent percentage here. But it's probably not going to take out the top two. But I don't think we've seen the last of Hunt. That's my prediction. It's the same thing if Tallarico loses. I don't think we're going to see the last of him here tonight. Okay, the 23rd. Let's pull that up. Oh, yeah, this one. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. This is a pretty big one here. Tony Gonzalez, Brandon Herrera. It's a rematch. Gonzalez almost lost a couple of years ago. I know there's a lot of weird stuff going on. Scandals and news behind the scenes between these guys. So that's definitely going to be one to watch. This district is huge, covers much of the border outside of El Paso. It is definitely one to follow. And again, this map has been redrawn. Republicans probably going to gain a few seats out of this, but they might not gain everything they wanted. If Hispanic support is going to swing back to the left pretty sharply, they might not be able to take out Henry Cuellar or Vicente Gonzalez. It's a possibility. Let's see. Okay, North Carolina District 9. Let's see. Let's see if we could pull that up. Here we go. Ojeda, I remember him. Didn't didn't he move from West Virginia? Something. That was a few years back. Uh Hunt is going to win the undecided. Yeah. Okay, he's going to have to win a whole lot of them. You know, I could see it either way with the polls overestimating Cornyn or even underestimating him. I know it's weird to do polling here, especially because the primary is you can vote in whatever primary you want. It's not a closed primary, but both sides have a competitive one, so probably not going to be a whole lot of crossover. But Cornyn seems like he made up a little bit of ground the last maybe week and a half. maybe Ken Paxton is viewed as too much of a wild card, and he is. I mean, Republicans, a lot of times you hear that Republicans find a way to lose. You know, you've Carrie Lake, there's Richard Murdoch, if you go back that far, Todd Aiken. Some of these races, Republicans just went too far and they ended up losing. Ken Paxton, yeah, he's won statewide. He's got that. But he was impeached. He's got baggage. He's he's not steady. Could that give Dems a chance to flip the state in the general? If it's Talrico, yeah, a little bit more likely. If it's Crockett, probably not. You can't say for sure though. Um, Shadow Legend, hello. Thanks for stopping by. Early vote didn't look good for Cornyn. Okay, I haven't really even checked that. I haven't been able to look way into this. Kerry Lake, yeah, that was a winnable race. And I thought Lake was going to win, too. I mean, it just seemed like there was enough there that she would at least pull it out by one vote, but didn't happen. Yeah, Jetta, West Virginia. Yeah, he came up with the progressive wave in Trump's first term, right? Yeah, the Justice Democrats. Yeah, carpetbagger. Yeah, people don't really like carpetbagging, but sometimes it doesn't even matter. Remember Scott Brown in New Hampshire? He almost won that race about a decade ago, and that was when he was much more fresh to the state. Let's see. So we got about 12 minutes till poll closings. North Carolina, they have closed, but we don't have any results yet. Democrats got their guy here. They got Roy Cooper. That's the best they're going to do. Republicans, Michael Lotley, former RNC chair. He seems like he's not a top tier candidate like Cooper. If you want to win this seat, Cooper is going to be the guy for the Dems. But if Tom Tillis was running again, he probably would not have won that primary anyway. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Let's see if there's any news updates. Okay, most expensive Senate primary in history. Well, that's not a surprise. Usually the most recent one is the most expensive. Okay, but as I said, yeah, we've got polls are going to stay open later. Oh yeah, Al Green. He is he's in danger of losing his seat. Okay, Dallas County votes. The polls are going to be staying open longer, and it's unclear when we're going to get some results. Ooh, Dallas police detained a man outside of Ken Paxton's watch party. Okay. All right. Lake, I thought would win governor in 22. I did not think she would win against Gallego. Oh, okay. Swinger. Different account. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know if there's issues with some of the messages. I remember you were telling me that on the election day stream back in November. Yeah, North Carolina is an interesting state. It's really purple when you look at who's winning it. It's kind of the opposite of New Hampshire. That state leans red on a state level. Federally, it's blue. North Carolina, kind of the opposite. But that could all change here with Roy Cooper. I mean, it's not like Dems have never won a Senate seat here in North Carolina. They had Kay Hagan in there until Tom Tillis. So it's not unheard of. But Republicans, their turnout, it's they're kind of demoralized. They've got to get their turnout up. Everybody's looking at the special election results, and they're seeing Dems overperform by a ton. And we'll be seeing the total number of votes cast in this Texas primary. I personally don't really care about that. I'll point it out. But I don't think if one side has more votes or the other has this many votes, I don't think that matters a lot. Um, Two high profile races here. It might be more interesting if they were both three-way races or both two-way races. Because this Democrat here, Ahmad Hassan, I don't know anything really about this candidate. Maybe they're going to pull in 5-10%, but I don't think so. Okay, Paxton and Hunt apart by 4. Talarico got funded. Yeah, his Colbert appearance. Yeah, that was weird. It got yanked, and then something happened. Al Green probably, yeah, I think he's losing to Menifee, if I recall. NCL official. Good to see you. Roy Cooper has it in the bag in the primary or the general. Because in the general, I'm not going to say anything is in the bag. Um, it seemed like Cal Cunningham was going to win last time. I think that was in 20 against Tillis. The polls showed Cunningham basically ahead. I know he had a little bit of a scandal there at the end, but he lost. Yeah, Ojeda did run for president. I remember that now that you mention it. Cornyn must win Travis. Okay. Hunt should do well around Harris County. And they have a little bit of a summary on every one of these counties. It's kind of generic in some of these small ones, but it's nice to see. So we're going to stick here on New York Times. I don't think I'm going to pull up Decision Desk or NBC or Fox or whatever. Um, let's see. We're talking about Thomas Massey. Unless there's another Massey running in one of these states. Um, let's see. Democratic primary, Senate, Texas tight. Yeah, if it is really tight, then this third candidate here, if they pull in 2 or 3%, hey, maybe that's enough to keep both Crockett and Tallarico just under 50. That'd be something. DNC canceled midterm convention. Okay, didn't know that. Trump still doing the GOP one? Okay, 1 to 2% for Hassan here. Texas District 2. Oh, yeah, this is another key race with Crenshaw. Yeah, I think the momentum is with Steve Toth here. Crenshaw, he's got the eye patch, but that might not save him. Um, but again, I want to welcome everybody in here to this stream as we're approaching a half hour. I do want to spend some time talking about the 4 years of the channel. It's been a wild ride doing this for 4 years. Over 14, 15, 1,600 videos. I can't even remember what it is anymore. There's been a video up every single day for nearly the entire 4 years. It's been insane. It's been a lot of effort. And the last year, the stats went way down. They plummeted. Don't know why. They took a big hit. Now, maybe other channels did too, but still, putting up content every day, it's hard to do where the stats, they don't back up the effort at all. So hopefully we'll get some action here. We'll get some new subscribers. We'll get some, maybe a couple channel members. We'll get a couple of super chats. Because it's 4 years. I mean, this is the celebration. I don't know how long the channel's going to go for. Certainly, if the pace picked up a lot, it'd be way easier to do more and keep it going. But there is so much content on this channel. Every day there's a new video. There's plenty of stuff, polls, different content covering everything. So if you've only been here for maybe a couple of months or a couple of years, I appreciate everybody that's been around and enjoys this channel. I know there's a lot of political channels out there, but maybe this one offers something a little bit more unique that you're looking for. Okay, we'll probably come back to that a couple more times here. But what's the opinion of Tallarico and Crockett? I don't know what other people are saying about them. I mean, I know generically, but I haven't really checked out other channels. Tallarico is the safe choice. He's going to be a little bit more moderate. He's more measured. And, he speaks well. You're not going to see the last of him tonight if he loses. That's what I said earlier. Crockett is, I think she's kind of the Ken Paxton. Too out there, too much of a wild card, too many controversial statements. And that's good for the base, but in a general, probably not so much, especially considering this is kind of a red state. So I think Crockett is weaker, Tallarico is stronger, Paxton is weaker. Hunt should have been Hunt, I think, to bridge the gap between Cornyn and Paxton. But then again, Trump did not make an endorsement, unless I missed something. That might happen in the runoff. Who knows? But Cornyn, he's been in there forever. This is, what, 5 terms? Something like that. I don't know how many more he's even going to have. This could be his last run. Uh, Let's see. Voice different in 22. Well, the early days of the channel had a totally different setup, different equipment, everything. So that's the answer to that. Uh, you've been subbed since 24. Okay. So, couple years maybe. Who's going to win the AG race? That should be Chip Roy, right? Is that race even? It's got to be out here somewhere. Here it is. Yeah, I would guess Chip Roy is going to win. I haven't gone in depth on these candidates. If anything exciting comes up for the general, I'll take a closer look at it. But Dems are hoping this is 2018 all over again. Blue wave, midterm during Trump in office. And Texas got closer. Not for governor. For Senate, yeah. Ted Cruz beat O'Rourke by 2.5, 3 points, something like that. But then the state went completely back to the right in 24. It's not back to the old margins of 20 years ago, but Ted Cruz won by a fairly comfortable margin just a year ago. And here we go. We've got some results, but nothing for the main event. Oh, here we go. Crockett starts off with the lead. So Crockett should do better in the Dallas Fort Worth area. Talrico is going to be better here in Travis, and Williamson, probably the suburbs of Austin. You've been watching less than a year. That's fine. You got to start somewhere. Thank you for the happy anniversary. The first video you saw was last time Democrats won each state for president. Okay, yeah, that was probably 8, 9 months ago, something like that. Uh, Talrico is the second politician to appear on Jubilee after Buttigieg. Interesting. Did not know that. Okay, yeah, we've got Russ County reporting. Uh, does Ted Cruz have a chance of getting into the Supreme Court? I mean, I heard about that. It seems unlikely that he would actually get pulled out of the Senate. If he just secured another 6-year term, barely over a year ago. We've got some more coming in here now. Talrico and Cornyn in the lead. It would seem like Cruz would not want to give up that seat. I mean, they Republicans got that one in the bag for another 5+ years, or a little under that. So I wouldn't think so. Uh, if a comment is gone, somebody must have removed it. Brian Chavez, welcome to the stream. Tuesday is okay. I'll leave it at that. Okay. So let's see. So we've got Dallas and Tarrant in. I thought the polls were extended, but maybe not. Um, Okay. A surge of first-time Democratic primary voters added uncertainty in Texas. Yeah, if that's the case, who knows, right? That would seemingly benefit Crockett, but maybe they're coming out for Tallarico. Nobody really knows. Okay, so Cornyn is with 50% already in here. 53 for Cornyn, Paxton 31. 10% of the statewide total is in. And here we've got Crockett 56 in Tarrant. So she is in the lead, but we'll probably see Tellerico run it up around Austin, and then who knows what's going to happen in South Texas, right? El Paso down to Brownsville. Okay. It's super early though. Um, how many seats will the Dems get in the House? Well, I mean, it's way too early. It's difficult even the day before election day to predict what they would get. But you know, very likely enough to flip it. Probably it could 10, 15 seats, that's on the table. Above 15 seats, it's less likely. But we'll see what happens. Let's give it some time. But I could see them again. It also depends on some of these redistricting maps. That kind of has made it a little bit harder to track exactly what's happening. So I'll leave it at that for right now. 10 seats does not seem unreasonable to me right now. Okay, let's see what we got here. Nothing in the districts. Okay. Cornyn ahead here. Hunt is at 13%, and Ahmad Hassan is under 1%. So if there's going to be runoff here with the Dems, he's going to have to get that up to at least a couple of percent. Okay. Well, this poll has ended. Who's going to win between Paxton and Tallarico? Paxton under 5 at 49. Paxton over 5, 22%. And Tallarico at 29. So about a 70-30 that Paxton would beat Tallarico. So advantage Paxton, not enough to feel secure about it. 400K first time primary voters. Yeah, that is a lot. Uh, Primary results for the House. Yeah, there's a lot of districts. You'd have to let me know which one you want to take a look at the most. And let's not forget about governor here. Didn't even mention this one, but yeah, Greg Abbott. He's running for a fourth term. That's a lot of time in office. But this race is getting basically no attention from my perspective. Gina Hinojosa, she's likely to take on Abbott. So I don't think there's any question marks here. Okay, this is the main race. And again, you have to get 50% here. So if Cornyn is at 49.9, that is a bad sign because now he has to go to a runoff in late May. And that Might not be enough, but we've only got a little bit of vote here, mostly around Dallas. So, um, you saw my final 22 prediction for the House. I don't even remember what I had for the House prediction. I I kind of don't really care for my Senate prediction. I went a little bit too far with that one, a little bit. Arizona, that was the other one. But in the House, I don't even remember how close was I. In 24, I nailed the House. The final margin in the House, I got it exactly. Let's see. Yep, 7 to 15 seats is realistic. Yeah, that sounds realistic. Um, okay. This browser, this is Firefox. Um, okay, so again, here we go. First primary of 26. This is going to set the stage for the midterms. Dems are hoping it's going to be a blue wave. So far, it looks like that's kind of happening from the special election results we've seen. Now, that's not unusual. Usually, the party out of power does better in the specials. We saw it under Obama. We saw it some under Biden. Saw it under Trump the first term. And the midterms are pretty much usually unfavorable for the party in power. And that's just what happens. That pendulum swings back and forth. And then once you're in office, whichever side is in there, they're going to blow it. That's where we're at. They're going to blow it. They're going to go too far in a few ways. And that's it. It's going to keep swinging. Okay. So about a tenth of the vote is in here. And again, the map has been redrawn. So it's hard to totally stay up to date on some of these seats and the candidates. But Republicans were hoping to gain 5 seats out of this new map. They might not get that. 3 probably, but 4 or 5, that's not a done deal. But again, I have to take a look at the map again. I'm actually kind of surprised here that the first votes here were in Dallas and Tarrant, when apparently I thought those were the counties that were staying open later, or at least Dallas. Yet we get the results first. Okay, let's see. Don't expect quick calls in Texas tonight. Okay. Dallas County, a district judge ordered the polls to remain open until 10 p.m. Eastern. Okay. Is this the year Texas goes blue? Okay. Yeah, we've been hearing about this forever, right? 10 plus years. Just demographics are destiny. The trends are going to make Texas blue. They did get close in 18 to picking up that Senate seat against Cruz. It was kind of a nail biter. But Ted Cruz bounced back. He clearly improved on his margin in 24. But that was with Biden in office. So a lot of backlash against the incumbent party. Let's see. Do we got anything in? Okay. Got 14 minutes till Arkansas. And North Carolina, we do have some action here. We've got 43 votes in Lincoln County and 41 votes for the Republican side. Here's a race to watch. The first district. This map has also been redrawn to try to take out Don Davis, Republican. Now, Trump won this district, I believe, but Davis won in the House. So there's a crossover here. So it's competitive, but the map has been redrawn. Davis should have a much harder time. And Lori Buckout challenged Davis last time. She lost. So she's running again. And you've got Buckout and Buck. So take a look at that race. There's a few other ones I know that have some more progressive Democrats running, but let's see. Okay. Okay. Paxton at 44 in Galveston County. Okay. In that same county, Tallarico, barely ahead. This would be a runoff right here if it were just this county and it ended right now. Okay, let's see. You think the district should have names like counties? Well, that's interesting. Anytime it comes to naming anything, though, there's going to be a whole lot of controversy over it. What does the chat look like? It should look like how it looks for you. We should be looking at basically the same thing. Okay, your country has names for the electoral districts. Talrico sweeping South Texas. Yeah, I can see that. Eh, I think those voters would want somebody a little bit more electable, but they did swing toward Trump. That I don't think they were going for Nikki Haley. Um, but a few months back, I thought that Crockett wouldn't really even make it competitive. I thought she was just going to be viewed as too out there, but she seemingly made it at least close to competitive. She could even win it. It's a possibility. Okay, maybe the polls are staying open just for the Dems in Dallas County. I'm not sure how that would work. 50% in for the Republicans, zero for the Dems. Well, I don't know what to tell you about my chat. It's basically the same thing. I'm not going to be able to describe it any more than that. Uh, Crockett will do better in early vote. Talrico's numbers will go up. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, Talrico. San Antonio, El Paso, he's going to do better. Okay. Super early still. Still almost nothing here in North Carolina. Okay, here comes some more. Cornyn lost just a little bit. Yeah, let's also take note of some of these other minor candidates here. So this is all important. Okay. So who's it going to be? Is it going to be Paxton and Tallarico? That's let's see. That's what most people tend to think. Paxton is at 80%, 80 cents, I predicted. Tallarico is up to 93. Okay. So yeah, I'm not sure how long we'll be going for the stream. I mean, we'll do a couple more hours at least. Hopefully we get all the results in. And you'd like to think if somebody was going to challenge Cornyn, it would be somebody that doesn't have a ton of baggage like Paxton. I mean, he's the attorney general. He's got experience winning the state of Texas. But voters might be getting a little tired of Paxton. The base, I know, is frustrated with Cornyn. He's just not. He's a little bit too moderate, I guess, is the way to put it. Now, the runoff is that's in a while. That's late May, so it's not going to be soon. So a whole lot of spending, all that's going to happen again. Uh, Beto, O'Rourke, and Allred. Well, Allred is making a comeback. Uh, he's trying to make a comeback here in the House. I think he, I think Beto, he fired up enough people in 18. Um, but I know he did make a couple of possibly controversial comments. I know one was about guns, about their he's going to be coming for your AR-15, something like that. I don't remember what the exact quote was. And then he ran against Greg Abbott. Now, and he ran for president too. So I think that was a bad move. He got real close in a blue wave. Then he tries to take his name ID and challenge Abbott, and that went nowhere. Then for president, that totally went nowhere. So I think he kind of wiped out Allred, less of a firebrand. Um, but maybe he's a little bit too mild mannered. I don't know. His last name, of course, is not helpful if he wants to turn the state blue. But it's good to see the Democrats not rerunning the same candidates. Oh, I mean, O'Rourke did go for governor, but I thought they were going to drag out Allred again after he just lost to Cruz. We see that on both sides. They run the same candidate again and again. It does work once in a while, but it just gets a little boring. I mean, there's millions of people in that state, a lot of elected officials. You can't find somebody else to run. You got to dig up the same guy every time. All right. Poly Market, yeah, says Crockett is finished. Hope Rico wins the primary. You voted for him last Wednesday during early voting. Gotcha. Runoff elections. I do like runoffs. I hate to see somebody win nomination with 30% of the vote. I don't like that at all. I want somebody to get a majority. You could do ranked choice. I'm fine with that. If and then you don't have to sit here and come back in a few weeks. However, it's fine if you do want to come back because if you got it down to just two candidates, you might want to get reacquainted with voters and rebuild your campaign. So that's I don't want to see somebody becoming the nominee with 20, 30, 35% of the vote. That's not appealing for me. But hey, that's just me. Would Beto be in a future presidential administration? Yeah, that wouldn't shock me. That wouldn't surprise me at all, really. He's fairly young. He made a name for himself. He did not have success. He did win that U.S. House seat in El Paso, but that was kind of a while ago, and that's just way too local. What position? Who knows? That could be kind of a Pete Buttigieg thing, right? Secretary of Transportation. Could be anything. Maybe it would be Homeland Security. It's all on the table. Okay, so we've got to get more in here than just basically Dallas and Galveston County here. Fort Bend, though, they do have a lot of people. And Hunt only polling 13 there. You thinking Harris he's going to do even better? Uh, let's see. Georgia's runoffs. Yeah, the runoff where it's after election day. Yeah, that's too goofy. Anthony's election coverage. Okay, I'm not familiar with that coverage. Um, yeah, Georgia 2020. Ossoff winning that. That was crazy. That was wild stuff. Dems end up having both Senate seats in Georgia. Who knows what would have happened if Brian Kemp appointed Doug Collins instead of Kelly Loeffler? I would have thought that Collins would have been a bit stronger. Maybe it wouldn't have mattered. Okay, yeah, ranked choice, 30%. Good stuff. Well, if both candidates were under 50, and I think there was Libertarian on the ballot, and that took enough vote away from whoever was it. It was either Purdue or Loeffler. I think that was Loeffler. And by the time the runoff happened, enough vote changed, and Ossoff pulled it out. Okay, Purdue was a strong incumbent. He was kind of old though. I don't know. I guess that didn't matter. Um, which Dem Senate seat is most vulnerable? Well, it's really only Michigan or Georgia, Michigan is open. It would seem like Michigan. I had a poll on that recently. Seems like Michigan a little bit more likely to flip than Georgia. That's the Gary Peters seat in Michigan. But other than that, there's really not much going on for the Republicans. They could try in New Hampshire. They could try in Minnesota. But it's really going to be Michigan or Georgia. The only possibilities. Yeah, Beto as Homeland Security Secretary. Hey, he's got border experience. His district, right here, right on the border. Okay, so maybe Chip Roy is not going to be the AG. Again, I have not followed this race, but still got a lot of outstanding vote. But maybe somebody else is following this closer than I am. So is Chip Roy, is he not the guy? And if so, what happened? Nothing here with Crenshaw, nothing with Gonzalez, nothing with Allred. Cooper is down to just 92%. Let's see, we've got 4 updates. Let's see. Okay, Sarah Huckabee Sanders is the Republican nominee. Okay, nothing too interesting there. Okay. Uh, you asked him if Anthony's last live, if he watches you. He says yes. I'm not even familiar with that channel. Again, I don't really look at a lot of other channels too much as of late. I've had just way too much going on. But I'm not sure about that channel, so I don't know the stats. I don't know the I don't know anything really. But if somebody watches me, that's great. Kemp thinks throwing another football player in. Yeah, that that is something Republicans have been doing, getting a couple of sports stars in there. Michigan Senate primary three-way race. That's true. Yeah, Rogers is sitting and waiting, but Rogers almost won against Slotkin in 24. But how's he gonna? How could he do better this time? That's another example where one party is just rerunning the same guy. They've done it with John James. Now they're doing it with Mike Rogers. They're doing it with John James again. At least Stacey Abrams, she's going to sit this one out. She's not going to go 3 in a row in Georgia. Um, hey, better late than never. You know, as long as you made it here. Okay. And yeah, welcome aboard. We've been over here an hour now in the stream. 4 year anniversary, Texas primary, plus a couple other states of lesser significance, North Carolina and Arkansas. 4 years of the channel. I think 15, 1600 videos. And we're doing another stream. First stream of the year. Should be more, but I can't make guarantees because sometimes stuff comes up, and there's been a lot coming up, but I've been managing to keep the channel going and got on the stream. So we're still waiting here. The markets say it's going to be Tallarico and Paxton. That's kind of what everybody thought before this, but there's just not enough results in here yet. Okay, Greg Abbott, 83%. Okay, yeah, maybe we should get these detailed results. Okay, election day in person, Paxton, 100th of a percent, less than that. If this is correct, it's basically dead even. And this is, let's see. A lot of tabs here to track, but I guess it's not showing me the Dems. Okay. 17% in, 14 for the Dems. Cornyn ahead, but it's only by about 5 to 6%. Definitely, this is headed to a runoff as of right now. Let's see. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Well, I think she kind of, I don't know. I think she burned a lot of bridges. But before that, she was already viewed as kind of on the fringe. But now, I don't know. The Dems cozied up to her a little bit because she went against Trump. That's all standard politics right there. 7 days until this special in Georgia. Okay, yeah, thanks for reminding me. The next live stream, the plan would be probably in a couple of weeks for Illinois on the 17th. I'm not positive though, so you'll have to check back probably the day before. If Crockett wins, Dems will not win. That seems probably correct. Okay, 23% in now. The Cornyn is going down now. Paxton moving up. Where do we get? Okay, we got Harris in now. And Hunt should do better because he's from this area, but he's only at 18% here. It's basically tied between Cornyn and Paxton. And here, Crockett is leading in Harris. South Texas now, Cameron County. Yep, ton of Hispanic voters. Talrico. He's got by about a 2-to-1 margin here, 63-34. So if that translates into the rest here, Talrico is going to do pretty well in South Texas, and that's going to definitely put him over the top. But we got to see what's going on here in Dallas County once those polls finally close. Um, Yeah, the primary schedule, it's right here. Yeah, April has nothing really. There's really nothing in April, minimal in July. So it's all about May, June, and August. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. I've got a lot of stuff going on. Not sure what I'll be able to get to. Again, the channel has struggled the last year for whatever reason. You could say that that's just generally what happens with political channels, but still, it's went down way more than a typical dip. Especially when I'm putting out content every single day, as Talrico is now in the lead. So any bit of support this channel could get, that's gonna help. 30% in now. Where was that vote dump? Did we get Travis? Okay, there it is. Talrico way ahead in the vote heavy county of Travis, home to Austin. And let's see what's going on with predicted now. Still, Paxton at 80. It has not changed. And Talrico at 98 now. So Crockett looks like she has kind of no chance right now. Maybe she pulls in 100% of the vote in Dallas. Maybe 95%. Okay. Okay. You're a Republican. You used to be a Democrat. Gotcha. Yep. Mississippi in April. Austin just hit. Talrico took the lead. Both Dems and Reps should be quiet about Crockett before. Should have kept quiet about Crockett. And Talrico could have had an easy primary. Oh, hey. Thank you for the super chat. Clover Finder Boy. $1.50. Good stuff. That should uh that should get everybody going. 4 years of the channel. Good to get a super chat in. Maybe we'll get four of them. Maybe we'll get 40. Uh, but yeah, again, anything helps. It's tough out there, at least as far as the channel goes. I can't believe I've been doing this for 4 years, really. Kept it going. Stuff coming out every day. There's been a few times where it was basically going to be impossible for me to keep it going, but I somehow got through it. But you never know. I'm sure some people just abandon their channels, right? One day they're just gone. The updates stop. No notice, nothing. Okay. Okay, Roy Cooper and Watley, they have clinched it, which is completely expected. And now we've got action here. Look at this tight one. Buck out and Buck. They're going head to head to take on Don Davis. Ojeda jumps into the lead. And how about Tony Gonzalez here? He is 1% of the vote in. Barely ahead of Brandon Herrera. Herrera, kind of the online candidate. Um, Real close one a couple of years ago. And look at this. Crenshaw, probably not too much of a surprise. He's not leading this race against Steve Toth. Crenshaw, the incumbent. Did yeah did anybody have anything on this? Mays Middleton, I haven't followed this race. Chip Roy is the high profile candidate, but apparently he's not doing anything. So is anybody actually following this? What just 1 cent? What 1.5 sentences? What's going on here? The thing you like about this channel, you go live on elections and like to talk to people about this stuff because a lot of people just stay away from politics. Yeah, I mean politics. If you want any reasons to not be interested in politics, I mean I've got a ton. I mean I'm at this as much as I cover this and follow it. I'm also not interested in it either because it's depressing. There's a lot more important things in your own immediate life than politics. I mean, there's so much stuff going on in the world that it's hard to really get caught up in what's happening in all these other states, all these other races, all these other candidates in the news, nationally, internationally. It's just so much there. There's more important stuff out there. So, in politics, it's swampy. It's loaded with hypocrisy, and it's not fun. It's easy to be jaded about it. You enjoy the stuff I make. The downturn is probably because it's an off year. Well, first of all, yeah, I appreciate this. If you're taking a look at all my stuff, because there's a whole variety. There's just a lot of variety out there. Um, but the down year, I don't know because I can say that prior to the 24 election, about 2 months before that, the views dried up. They went down. They took a dip, and that's when I thought they would go up. Then after the election, a few months after, like a year ago, then they just plunged. Everything plunged. And I could accept taking a dip, but not to the point where I'm getting the views I was getting like 2.5, 3 years ago. Now that doesn't make any sense. That's like a 4 steps back to regress that much. Especially when I'm putting out stuff every day. At this point, I thought I'd be over 10K subscribers easily. If you were to ask me a year and a half ago, I go, okay, yeah, probably at least 9, 10K. But apparently, consistency, that doesn't cut it. That's something I hear a lot of. Just stick with it, be consistent. Well, that doesn't really guarantee you anything. I do have a blog, yeah. There's a link on the about section. It's just for random lists of different political stuff. So, not a ton on there. I don't have really time to sink time into that and the channel and everything else in life. You hate Crockett supporters. See, Crockett slander is anti-black, anti-women, but realistically, their personality ego. Yeah, I know. It's not. It's never going to be fun when identity is always the first line of defense. And I'll just leave it at that. Mansion 2.0. Is he to the left of Crockett? I haven't really heard that. Yeah, but this much. Did everyone else, did their stats go down to the point where they were basically getting like 80% less? I mean, that's not it. That's like a colossal drop. That's not just taking a dip. I can accept taking a dip, but this is a prolonged, intense drought. Let's see. Other things, well, outside of this, I try to not really get into that stuff. Try to just focus only on this because it's just there's just so much more out there. It just kind of creates a whole different dynamic once I get beyond what's going on here with this election coverage. So, not a satisfying answer, but it's kind of what it is. And, there's not really a whole lot more to expect here. It seems like it's going to be Talrico and Paxton is supposedly going to make this up at some point. Let's. Okay. Tom Cotton, he's pretty much going to win another term. I'd say that that's about a 99% chance. This race, though, Cooper and Wadley, my prediction is Cooper wins, and I think he would win by probably 2 or 3 points. If I had to say right now, now what's it going to be in 7 months? Who knows? But Wadley, his name ID is lower. He's not the former governor who is relatively popular, just like Josh Stein, the current governor. The guy is super popular. He could run for the Senate. Maybe he could at some point he could take on Ted Budd, the other senator. Okay, a couple of updates here. So nothing about this AG race. I'm gonna have to look that up at some point. Okay, 7 updates. Wow. Okay, Cooper and Watley. That's it. Okay. Uh, Algorithm doesn't like your videos because you never see my videos on the For You page. I always go to your channel. Well, you know, I have no idea about the algorithm. There's been a few times over the years where one of mine got picked up and the views shot up. It's happened maybe a handful of times, but it hasn't happened in a long time. I don't know why. Maybe it's the title. Maybe it's the keywords. But still, consistent content every day. Even though I put up a couple of random spinner battles or coin flips, still the regular content is there. Maybe people do promotions. I don't know. But yeah, I should be in the algorithm. I've been doing this 4 years. People lost all hope after 24. Yeah, I know there was a dip. Yeah, Dems became disillusioned. I get that. That's that makes sense. Just like Republicans disillusioned after 25. Those results, total wipeout for them. Oh, Brandon Herrera, slight lead now. Most favorable result for the Republican primary as a Democrat? Well, that'd be Paxton winning it. Dems have a better chance against Paxton because he's got more baggage. Uh, for 24, you got out of it. Now you feel like there's hope. And 24 was a life lesson, and it needs to be more done. Okay, I mean that's that pendulum swinging. Dems are gonna get back in power at some point, and then of course they're gonna blow it in the ways they blow it. Then the Republicans are gonna come back, and then they're probably gonna blow it again, and it's just gonna be this endless cycle over 2, 4, maybe 6 years. That's how I see it. Even if it's a red wave like 24, you still stick around and pound. I mean, I always want to see what happens. Um, Before the channel. I mean, I always want to see, well, what is actually happening? That's the most interesting part. Talrico, yeah, he's running it up. Well, let's see. Jasmine Crockett is leading in this county, but where all the people are, Talrico has a ton. His margin is way up there. And Travis, it's overwhelming for Talrico. And Harris Crockett is in the lead, but it's by single digits. I think we're kind of just waiting on Dallas County to see if Crockett has any kind of giant margin or not. But the markets say that she's headed for defeat. So at some point, we've got a third of the vote in, by the way. At some point, Paxton is poised to jump ahead of Cornyn. But in all likelihood, this is headed to a runoff. So we're going to have to sit here and wait for a while to see who actually is going to be the nominee. And then meanwhile, if it's just Tallarico, he's going to be sitting there and watching Paxton and Cornyn slug it out in the runoff. So he's going to have a head start. He's going to be racking up money. He's going to be making the rounds through the state. He's going to present himself as an alternate vision. And he's young. So there's probably an experience dynamic here at play. Of course, Cornyn has tons of experience. Paxton, he's got a bunch too. Hunt has a little bit, not as much. Okay, yeah, it's probably going to be Talrico and Paxton. Let's see. Voter registrations. The last time videos and tier rankings get the most views. Well, yeah, probably. Sometimes I put one up and it just flops. I'm stunned. Like some of the redistricting videos. I did the Utah one, that got nothing. The Virginia one got more. I don't know. It's so hard to predict. I don't even really look at the stats half the time because it's not going to make sense to me. And the last time videos, yeah, those take some time to make. I mean, it's tough to do research and the whole presentation and the editing and the images. I mean, it's not something you can just make in 30 minutes. So I think they should probably be getting two or three times the views that they're getting. You noticed that making since 2014. I think the blog, I thought I started the blog at 16. Is it 14? I thought it was 16. You'll have to maybe double check that. But that's when I started doing the political content. The channel, though, came later, 4 years ago. Uh, North Carolina District 11. Let's see. Chuck Edwards. This, I don't know. I'd have to check on the margins last time. I could probably do that actually pretty quickly here. Let's see. Okay, 56, but now the map was redrawn. I'm not sure how drastically this district was edited. I don't think there was a ton changed, but I'd have to double check. So just based on this, Dems making up that kind of a margin seems unlikely, but I'd have to see, did they lose a little bit here in this on the redistricting? Greg Abbott is the nominee. Still open here for the Dems. Greg Abbott, he's got, well, total, we've got about 780,000 votes. Dems a little bit more than that, 870, but they've got 3% more in. Republicans, it's kind of the same. Dems have more votes than the Republicans, 870, 796. Okay, you were at the 25 election night stream, but we're chatting. Okay, lurking. That's fine. That works. We've all been there. John Cornyn, after 20 plus years in the Senate, chooses to run for a fifth term. Yeah, he's getting up there. He's in his 70s. I think, this might have been a good time for him to hang it up, but I guess he wants another one. Just like, once you turn 70, the Senate, that's not anything anymore. No way economist Adam Smith is running in the 11th. No, oh, is that the guy? That I can't confirm that. Let's see. Okay, you're taking off. All right. NCL official. Well, thanks for joining. Have a good night. See you on the next one. And at this point, I'm going to take a 1 minute break myself. I'll be right back. Okay. And here we go. We're back into it. Fourth anniversary stream, Texas primary. We've got North Carolina. We've got Arkansas. We've got a few states out there. So I appreciate everybody that's managed to stop by for a little bit. We're still waiting here to see if Paxton is going to pass up Cornyn, but either way, Cornyn the incumbent, only at 43.7. And we've got a few down ballot races we're going to be taking a look at as well. Up and now Tony Gonzalez. Now he's in the lead. He got a big boost there. Almost 10%. Okay, let's see. Okay, same name. Yeah, well, Adam Smith, not probably the rarest name out there. That's not a race I followed closely, but We'll check back on it. So the polls were extended until 10 p.m. Eastern in Dallas County. So we're still almost an hour away from getting Dallas County, at least for the Dems. All right, here we go. Um, okay. Phil Berger, state Senate leader. I did hear about that. He's in danger of getting knocked out in North Carolina, the state Senate. Um, El Paso district judge ordered all polling stations to remain open for an additional hour. I mean, I would hope that's because there's an issue or something. Because it's always a little weird when one county or two counties just get an extension. I want to see every county get an extension, but maybe there's a specific problem here. It says technical problems. Okay, can't these counties ever just get it together? There's always some kind of a problem, it seems. Crockett excels in eastern Texas, where black voters represent an above average share of the population. James Talrico fares well in the rest of the state. Okay. So is anything going to change here? Or is this just going to be Cornyn in the lead and Paxton behind? But the runoff is going to be Paxton because Wesley Hunt, probably more of those voters would go toward Paxton. But still, the vote is kind of slowed down here. Just over a third of the vote in. And you always like to see this a tie, 34 votes each. If Crockett loses, is that a bad sign? To Harris in 28, personally, the party wants less Biden establishment parity. Uh, well, I don't know how much Crockett losing says about too much beyond this race. And Harris, I think she already lost. I know she's bounced back a little bit in the polls as of late, but it seems like the markets show Harris has little chance. And I think voters generally are mostly done with Harris. She lost when it counted the most, and she's getting old herself. I think the energy is just not with Harris at all. And yeah, plus she does have the tie to Biden, that whole debacle. So I don't know who's going to be surging here. Maybe it's Newsom for the Dems in 28, but it's way too early. I know people like to have far out predictions, but it's just anything can happen. Okay, so anybody have any favorite videos over the 4 years of this channel? How many have you seen? Has anybody seen every single video? It's probably unlikely. What about just, 90% of them? You watch 5 or 6 a week, and you've gone back and you've watched hundreds over the years. I'm sure there's a whole range of different types of fans. But yeah, it's always good to know what people like about the channel, what they don't like. They like the variety. Are the coin flips a nice change of pace? The spinners, the tier rankings, the predictions, the best and the worst case scenarios, the polling, the retirements. There's a lot out there. Do you think Dem should nominate moderate? Well, if they want to win, probably somebody more moderate. This would just be like in 1992. Bill Clinton comes along and takes down incumbent George H.W. Bush after 12 years of Republicans in the White House. Because when you want to win, it seems like you'll take anything. Just like in blue states, Republicans they want a you know they probably want a more hardcore Republican, but in the end, you're going to take Larry Hogan if you're going to get Larry Hogan. You'd rather have that than the Democrat. Charlie Baker, Massachusetts. You've got John Bell Edwards in Louisiana. That same thing happens on different sides. But I know that they probably want to have a progressive in there because they're fired up. At least a lot of them are fired up against Trump. And the Dems, I think, do need to shake it up. I think they do need to shake it up. Trump came in as that outsider candidate. He shook it up. He took down the whole establishment. Dems should probably do the same thing. They almost did it with Bernie, but didn't happen. But I do think they're more likely to win if they don't go too far to the left. I think that they need to have a mix of different views. I think the same thing with the Republicans. I don't think it's just about tempering your views. I think it's about crossover views. I think most voters want some of what both parties have to offer. There's always room for some tweaks, but the moderates like Andy Bashir, Josh Shapiro, they're probably more electable. And the primary, they're not going to be firing people up. It's going to be Newsom getting all the um, the clips and the one-liners, but in a general, there's going to probably be more appeal. I mean, I think that's the conventional wisdom. You take the moderate in the general, right? If you want to win. Now, if the backlash against the Republicans is strong enough, then a progressive could win. It's possible. But then even if a progressive won the nomination, then you're going to have to unfortunately see them walk back a lot for the general. Same thing with the Republicans usually. Everybody goes to the center in the general, and it just kind of becomes a little bit weird that they were so hardcore in the primary, and then in the general, they kind of want to walk it back. It's just that's politics for you. Okay. You watch a wide variety of your videos. Okay, that's something. You enjoyed ranking of the state flags or license plates. Primal beef. That was a couple years back. Good stuff. I don't think many people watch those. That was interesting. Probably could do it again, but yeah, that's just totally for fun. I mean, ranking a license plate. You watch them all except for the made up battles. Okay, I think that's what more people do. The battles are in there just to keep keep something up every day, change up the pace. Some people love that kind of random stuff. They just get excited about what's going to happen. That's kind of why I do them. I like to have some kind of suspense too. But I get it, they're not for everybody. But there's really only two of those a week. Dems need to follow into a moderate populist party. Yeah, the populism stuff is the way to go. I think, if you've seen some of my commentary videos, yeah, if Republicans got in, if they leaned into healthcare, even if it's socialized, getting citizens covered, that would help them a lot. And if Democrats ran totally away from identity politics, not just talked about it less, they would have success. Those are two things I think if they just crossed over on those two issues, the two parties, that candidate would have more success. There's some other stuff out there, but still, it just seems like we get one extreme to the other. It's just all or nothing. Nobody can cross over on any opinions. All right. So Cornyn is down to a 2.5 point lead. And the vote is pretty slow now. It's only at 40%. Still about 45 minutes away from the rest of the polls closing. This is a tight one. Look at this. Gonzalez barely ahead of Herrera by 10 votes. They're just 7% in. Close one here, too, in North Carolina's first. Okay, this one is wrapped up. And let's see. Here's another one. Incumbent Bushi. I'm not even sure if that's the right pronunciation, but she's getting challenged from Progressive here, and it's close. Okay, so Chip Roy is only at 28%. Let's see, a couple of updates. Tom Cotton is the nominee in Arkansas. If it's Cornyn and Paxton, if it's close, there will be pressure on major donors and GOP leadership to back, spend big to back Cornyn and may run off. If it's not, less pressure from outside groups. Okay. If if this was Florida, they would have. We probably had the results in by now. Florida, big state, they count their votes, and they're in two time zones. Okay, let me see. What have I got to get caught up on here? Cornyn ahead by a couple, yeah, but it doesn't really matter unless he's over 50, because that runoff that changes everything. How electable Newsom AOC? Yeah, that's one you hear about. Probably as electable as anything else. I mean, the VP, I think, is technically a low impact um, factor. Newsom, it's all about how big the backlash again is going to be. How tired of Trump is everybody going to be? Because then Newsom could easily win. It could, a lot of candidates could win. That's going to be the question. But AOC could on the ticket. I don't know how much that helps. I tend to not think she's a super strong candidate, mostly personality based. And plus, she kind of flip flopped, came in as a progressive, cozied up to Biden, then tries to go back. Newsom, he's kind of been a little bit all over the place too. Does he still have that podcast? I know he was interviewing some conservatives, and I know he tried to stake out some more moderate social positions and cultural positions, but it's not an unelectable ticket. Most voters have opinions that cross between party lines depending on the issue, and not enough politicians represent that. Of course, absolutely. That's what I'm talking about. I think if you can present all the issues on both sides to voters, they're not going to take everything from one side. Most voters are going to say, I want some of that, and I want a little bit of that too. If Gonzalez wins in 23, Democrats could likely pull a likely margin. What was the margin last time in the 23rd, in the general? I, I don't know. It's tough because it's just there's always something you could focus on. Like in 24, Trump made the big gains with Hispanic voters, and it seemed like how could he? He has all the rhetoric with being tough on the border and immigration. Then much of the media was saying that that would be damaging, even though he was shown to be making gains with Hispanic voters. Now the gains didn't happen in 2020. There wasn't a big swing there, and then there was a swing in 22, and then in 24, and it would seem like Trump would not be the guy to win Hispanic voters. So maybe Brandon Herrera could do better too. So it's really hard to predict. Moderate progressive hybrid can be appealing to many. Yeah. Yeah, Bernie Sanders was probably a pretty good candidate back in 16. It, low at the time, low on the identity stuff and the cultural stuff, not so toxic. Now that with the Dems, it's more toxic. It's just so much more identity based. And that doesn't mean they can't win. It just means that's one of the big things that would prevent them from having more success, in my opinion. But yeah, talking about the economics, that's the way to go. Now, the problem for the Dems is they already did this when a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, Biden was in there and they were saying, hey, the economy, it's not so bad. Just look at the numbers beneath the surface. Everything's great. Yeah, inflation is up a little bit, but hey, this economy is booming. And Republicans were like, what are you talking about? This sucks. And now that Trump is in there, it's kind of the opposite again. That's exactly what happens. It's just so much flip flopping and total hypocrisy from politicians, especially on the economy. You see it in the polling. Democrats think the economy is good when their guy is in there, and then it's the opposite with the Republicans, and then it flips. It's not about whether the economy is actually good, it's just what you want to focus on and whether you like the guy who's in there. Underrated states could be competitive in 28 other than the usual seven. Could we see another Obama, Indiana? Well, I mean, again, I hate to say this so often, but it's just way, way, way too early. I mean, yeah, you can go back to those states, Montana. Maybe Montana comes onto the map, right? For the Dems, if it's a huge blue wave, Indiana. Uh, let's see. Yeah, Texas. Maybe maybe they start having uh, illusions of Florida getting back in there. But I mean, yeah, I don't see a whole lot of states coming onto the map. Um, but for the Republicans, I don't know yet. They'd be looking at New Mexico, New Jersey, Minnesota. Now, maybe the whole New Jersey flipping red thing is totally dead after 25. I was always hesitant about it, but At some point, you think, hey, maybe it's not the most crazy thing, but then after 25, it seems like that kind of put that to rest. Newsom got backlash over his 960 SAT score. I think I heard about that. Um, yeah, I did hear it. He tried to humble himself by cutting himself down a little bit, something like that. I think. Gonzalez won by 25 and 24. He's built up more baggage. He definitely has more baggage. Well, could it get down to a likely, meaning 5 to 10 points? Well, I guess that could happen at a blue wave. But I mean, I would still probably say probably not. But again, but the map has been redrawn, so I don't know how that district specifically, what the partisan lean is on the new map. Is everybody American? Usually, there's some people from some different countries. Yeah, New Jersey. I mean, it's a New Jersey just surprised everybody. It got what 6% for Harris. That was not on anybody's radar. That's why I always say, hey, on election day, there's going to be one or two surprises. Just can't predict some of this stuff. It's easy to look at the last election and just build off of that and say, hey, this is going to happen next time. But that just that works until it doesn't. It's kind of like not. I don't want to do a name drop here, but if Alan Lickman, remember him, right? His system worked until it didn't. And I did a whole video on Lickman before the election. And predictions, you just got to be wide open. You got to say, hey, here's what's likely, but I don't know. Anything could happen. I say that a ton in my videos. It's too early. We don't know enough. John Cornyn being favored again. More after Talrico announces run for the Senate. Okay. Yeah, Lickman. Okay. Texas redraw is interesting. One of districts are more at risk, but redraw made a mystery. And notice a lot of the districts got less redder than the old map. Yeah, I think Republicans probably made a lot of their super red districts a little less red to try to take down a couple more seats. The whole redistricting thing has been really crazy. I've covered every state, but yeah, it's turned into a whole mess. It was already a mess before, but it just got so weird, and I can't imagine what's going to happen after the next redistricting. Something's got to give. Nobody wants to do this where you know big states that happen to have an advantage are going to completely destroy the other party. I mean, nobody wants that. But then how far do you take it? Nobody also wants people to prop up the minority political party just so they have so many seats. It's all a balancing act, and nobody is going to agree on how to solve it. Uh, 24 first election, he wrongly predicted the popular vote and the electoral vote. Yeah, I mean, and before that, he was just doing the when he had Al Gore in 2000. I mean, that was technically the wrong one, even though he was predicting the popular vote or whatever he was doing. But still, I did the whole video. Half of the elections were easy calls, right? It only comes down to the three, maybe four elections that are really going to be close. And then what system is out there that's going to be able to perfectly predict super close races? There's nothing. It's just you can't do it. It's a coin flip. You're going to get them right. You're going to get them wrong once in a while. There's no shame in it. The only shame is if you think you have an infallible system, because sooner or later it's going to fail. Both parties should have waited until next decade. Yeah, I bet everybody has an excuse as to why they should do it this time or that time, or why they should have this many seats, or why they should have an independent commission, or why the independent commission is unfair or biased. It's real bad. I've reviewed all the maps. I've done it. I've crunched all the numbers. Not since the new maps. I'll be if the channel is still around after the midterms, I'm sure I'll crunch the numbers again. You're in the UK. Sounds good. Canada. All right. 28 going to be something else for redistricting. Has to hope his party can pull off the state assembly and state supreme courts if he doesn't have. Yeah, yeah, I know. There's a lot of dynamics here. It's getting wild. And in Florida, another state, are they going to do it again? Uh, Iowa, Ohio being more competitive than 24. Well, that could easily happen. I mean, they could just go down to a 9 point margin. That would be more competitive, but still fairly Republican. Every every party just lets the election results get to their head. They get complacent. They think, okay, whatever happened, it's not gonna go the other way, but it does. It just keeps going the other way. Sometimes you can ride it for a little bit longer, maybe another 2 years, maybe four, but it's gonna flip. Something is gonna come up. People get tired of the same politicians usually. Some states you could sit in there a while if you're talking about on a state level, like here in Texas. You've got Greg Abbott, 4 terms, running for 4 terms. That could be 16 years. That's a lot of time. He could go for five, even. How about that? Is somebody going to break Terry Branstad's record in Iowa? 6 terms, not consecutive, but still six. Let's see what the markets have. Cornyn. Cornyn has made a little bit of a gain now. All right, so Talarico's got it in the bag. Yep, Abbott has been in there a while. I don't know. I'm not sold on Buttigieg. That's me. I don't know. I can make cases for anybody, and I can make a case against anybody too. It's just so much of this is just being in the right place at the right time. It's just kind of random. Got to be lucky. But the polls, well, still another 26 minutes here till we get Dallas County. And let's see, Travis is just 60% in. Nothing on the GOP side. Still a lot of counties with nothing. Less than half the vote is in. Okay, still a pretty close one here in North Carolina's fourth. And the first, also close. Okay. Okay, Crenshaw is losing. Humans are predictable. It's so much. Bloop scoops. Good to see you. I mean, yeah, I'm doing a stream. Good to see you made it. District 33. Yeah, I guess they're still waiting on those extended poll results, the poll hours in Dallas County. I guess that's why there's nothing here for the Dems. Well, here we are, just kind of waiting around. So yeah, I'm not sure. There might be a stream for Illinois on the 17th. I can't guarantee that. Just so much stuff could come up for me. Uh, and plus, it's good when there's more than one state, but it's also bad if there's a lot of action to try to track it all. But then we reach this kind of lull in the action. Well, again, not a packed stream. So yeah, I don't know. I hope this channel can pick up a little bit more here because again, it's been pretty weak for a year. I mean, there's nothing more demotivating than a whole year of plummeting channel stats. I mean, there's a lot of other things I could be doing with my time. It'd be nice to do that stuff too, but 4 years of the channel. That's an entire election cycle. Every election 4 years ago when I started doing this, we're covering redistricting. Nobody was around back then. That took months to even get 100 subscribers. It took months. And I did do a stream for the 22 midterms. I covered every race leading up to those midterms. So this is the same spot 4 years later. The midterms getting going. Yeah, that is interesting that the GOP has the results in, but they're still at 50. I guess they've probably held off two, but still. So we're going to sit here for 20 minutes at least. So what else? What else is there? Talk about the channel. We could talk about Texas here. We could talk about some other races. Um, Cornyn, endangered incumbent. Talarico, the fresh face. Could he turn Texas blue? Uh, breath of fresh air when there's so much partisan bickering elsewhere. I'd rather see it like this, no bias, showing how it is. Well, that's good to hear. I like that. I appreciate that. I usually mention, of course, some videos on some commentaries. I do state some opinions. You don't want to be a complete robot 100% of the time. But yeah, generally on election results, it's just, I want to just see what happens, call it like it is. I mean, this is decent, but I mean, 4 years with 1,600 videos and 50 something hundred subscribers. It should be more than this. It should be a lot more than this. Not to sound conceited at all, but with the content production, the consistency, and the streams, it's just so little. It really is. I mean, if this was a year later, maybe two, yeah, it's okay. I get it. But I mean, it's so easy to want to throw in the towel on the whole channel if this is all it is. If the growth is basically flatline, like completely flatlined, it's easy to want to just say, okay, I got to do other things in life. I mean, there's not a lot of channel members. I mean, there's some big fans out there, but not a lot of people join the channel. There's not a lot of actual support. And there used to be more super thanks, some super chats. Did get one here today. That used to happen more. So, it's all a mystery. John Wick running in Florida. Okay, interesting. Oh, let's see. Politics is depressing. Yeah, it is. Uh, Again, if this were Florida, I think we'd be pretty much done by now. I guess we got a dump of election day vote right away, and then it's just been really slow. I mean, some counties totally done, other ones zero. I always find that to be weird, especially when they're mostly small counties. Oh, Cornyn leading in San Antonio by 6. Cornyn leading by 13 in Cameron. So we'll see if these results come in quickly then after the top of the hour. I'd like to think so. I mean, we want to know what's going to happen. We don't want to sit here all night. Let's see. What are the updates? 6 updates. Okay. Um, Talarico leads Crockett by 30 and Cameron and Webb, two Hispanic heavy counties on the border. Well, yeah, it seems like he's going to win them for sure. Trump is celebrating wins of Republican candidates he endorsed, including Greg Abbott, well, Tom Cotton, Michael Wadley. Well, there was really no question about any of them. Okay. 47%. Uh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the update is on Florida. I thought he wanted to redraw the map, and it's held up. There's not a whole lot of time. I don't even know when the actual deadline is, but it might not happen if I have to pick. But DeSantis already got that map more Republican then. I remember he vetoed the first map and he got more Republican seats. He didn't go completely crazy, but he did make it more Republican. I'd say there's a they could have got another one or two seats if they really wanted to. But the other map they would have lost one or two more seats. But who knows what's going to happen now in a blue wave? It's kind of dicey if you're going to redraw a map, try to squeeze more seats out. Um, Collabs with others. Yeah, I mean, people suggested that, but I always wanted to get this channel up more before I even thought about that. 10K at least, maybe 15. That seems like that would make more sense for what I'm looking for. Because I do like to just make my own content, do my own thing, and not involve anybody else because it's too hard to do it. But if I did get it up enough, then maybe. But it's hard to want to do a collab with such a bad year. Um, okay, about 13 minutes to go. And even though they're still waiting on these other counties too. I mean, look at this. There's a huge dry space here. Nothing. Uh, that's kind of dry here. And it looks like no runoff here for the Dems unless something crazy happens. Talarico, he's probably gearing up to face Paxton. Let's see. Anything in the market now? 70% for Paxton. And of course, Talarico, 99. Okay. Wesley Hunt's home base is in Harris County. He's trailing Cornyn and Paxton. Yeah. Yeah, Hunt didn't really do a ton here. 13. Third place in his own home county. I guess it means he has a decent amount of support spread out, but it's just the same amount of support. It's way under Paxton and Cornyn. Loving County, the least populous county, the U.S. And okay, they're apparently supporting this other candidate that's not Cornyn and it's not Paxton. That's pretty hilarious. I think that's funny. What about here? Crockett 6-4. Uh, Paxton most likely to win the runoff. I mean, probably, but again, that's in a long time from now. So much is going to happen, the spending, etc. Dems beat Lombardo in Nevada. I mean, I lean toward no. I lean toward Lombardo pulling it out, but it is a very purple state. They've got Dems, they've got Republicans elected statewide. If it's a blue leaning year, maybe Lombardo goes down. Sisolak went down as an incumbent 4 years ago. That one I got completely wrong. I had Sisolak winning, and in the Senate, I had that one going red by tilt margins. I thought they were very close, and I got them both wrong. But yeah, if Sisolak could go down, Lombardo can go down against Aaron Ford. I just would think Lombardo is not a bad candidate. Of course, I'm not following what he's doing closely, but Lombardo probably not a bad fit. But he could be beat. Now comparing that to Ohio, yeah, I know these are tough ones. I would think Ohio would be a little bit more red because that's a more of a red state. I think um, Ramaswamy would be more favored, but it is an open seat. Appearing in other channels can be a good way to get exposure. That's true, but the thing is, it depends on what other channel you're getting on. Does that other channel have a lot more exposure already? Then they might wonder why would they want some tiny channel on their channel? And for me, I mean, it's hard to go way under my level to appear with someone who's under me in terms of subscribers because I'm already struggling in terms of those stats. So there has to be something in it. And nobody's really trying to collab with me either. So, but it's fine. I mean, again, I got so much stuff. There's a lot on my plate to think about. But even without the collaborations, that's the thing. If I was just getting going 6 months in, I could see, hey, how about exposure? But after 4 years, I would think I've kind of established myself, cemented myself in as a consistent political channel. More people that live in your apartment than all of Loving County. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Texas has a lot of big cities and the suburbs too, substantial. And they've got some medium-sized cities too, but yeah, then they've got a ton of low population counties, but it's a huge state. Okay, so this is the main event still. Some people might be interested in some of these congressional house races. But it's all about the Senate, and it's all about celebrating 4 years of the channel again. I mean, there's plenty of channels out there that have a fraction of the videos and they have more subscribers, I'm sure. I mean, how many channels have 15, 1600 videos and only 5,000 whatever subscribers? I mean, some of the videos aren't great, but I mean, consistency and the variety, that's got to speak for something. Okay, Nevada. Yeah, I mean, it's true about Nevada. It's going to be competitive. Or Lombardo could win by 4 or 5 points. Who knows? Or maybe it's somehow he wins it by more than that. I mean, there's just not a lot of polling in Nevada. I think there was just one like a month or two ago. It was close. I think that was an Emerson poll. I think I covered that actually. Happy anniversary. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. 4 whole years. That's a long time. Making hundreds and hundreds and, well, over 1,000, way over 1,000 videos. Uh, yeah, I never thought I'd be doing it this long, unless it massively took off, which it did not. But one thing led to another, and the channel has kept going for all this time. I should probably take off 1 or 2 days a week on the channel. Um, I don't know how that would affect anything, but I used to. This is leading up to the midterms 4 years ago. I was putting out 2 or 3 videos every day, and that didn't help. Additional videos do not help. I noticed that at some point. Even leading up to 24, I put out a few times, putting out multiple videos. It didn't help. So it's there's not a lot of motivation. That's why I don't want to spend too much time making videos. Some people have suggestions. They ask me to make this or that, but I mean, I can't spend 3 or 4 hours researching a video, and I can't have it where I'm not even interested in the topic, and the video is not going to make anything. It's not going to bring in any views. I mean, ideally, you want to have something quick, something that I kind of like, and something that might bring in some views. You want to have at least 2 out of the 3. But I mean, videos that take hours to make, even just 2 or 3 hours, that can be a drain, especially when there's other things happening. Okay, what county's next to Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and Austin trend blue over the next day? Probably. They already have. You have to leave. Okay. Have a good night. Shadow Legend. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Counties in Dallas, Fort Worth, Metroplex have been moving left. So definitely possible. It continues. Yeah. It's so hard to predict ahead in politics. I mean, again, you go back 20 years, a lot of people are like, well, Texas, of course, it's got to be blue by 2020, 24. Not really. Nobody was predicting that Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, that they were going to become swing/red states presidentially. Predictions are just, you hope you get lucky on them, on half of them, maybe, but that's all it is. Ask AI for ideas. Yeah, that's something to do. It's just that there's so many myths about channels. It's just you hear consistency. Like I said earlier, consistency does not mean anything. It just doesn't. If consistency led to channel success, then I'd have, you know, 20, 30,000 subscribers. Every video would be pulling in at least like 2 or 3K minimum. And the good ones will be pulling in 10, 15K. Yeah. Well, okay, right. But the name right there is Shadow Legend. So either way, have a good night, and we should be getting results here in about 1 minute. Now let's keep that in mind. The polls were extended in Dallas County, so we're gonna be kind of right here. We'll see what happens. This is Crockett's home turf, and we got to see what Cornyn does here on the rest of this vote. He's got half in. He's got a decent lead at 22%. Talrico is dominating in Travis, and there's nothing in here on the Republican side. It's just kind of uneven, the results. We got nothing in El Paso. But down south, Cornyn is doing good here in Cameron, and Talrico, he's running it up on the other side. San Antonio, it's Talrico by 15, and it is Cornyn by 6. Crockett leads by 9 in Harris, and it's about tied for the Republicans. I mean, the county to watch is probably Williamson County. This is north suburbs of Austin. And Biden captured it in 20. I'm almost positive of that. And it's went back to Trump narrowly, I believe. But either way, this was used to be just it's kind of like Virginia suburbs or, Pennsylvania outside Philadelphia, where Bucks County used to be Republican stuff, Republican territory. But then it's just kind of finally started to go to the left. And if Dems are going to be winning in these suburbs, who knows? Now they could, but then they could take it for granted, and Republicans could come right back. That's just probably the most likely scenario. Dems tend, or everybody tends to think, whatever happened most recently, they're going to counter that next time. Well, that only works rarely. Most of the time, there's a regression. 2 or 4 years later. All right, so now that all the polls should be closed. Let's take a look at the updates. Okay. Texas Senate primary set a record for ad spending. Okay, that's not interesting for me at all. Okay, Phil Berger, North Carolina State Senate, danger of losing his seat. All right, 50% in now. Waiting for that vote dump. Hopefully, it's any minute and not another hour. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You look at predictions 10 or 20 years ago, well, maybe 15, 20, 25 years ago at this point, and yeah, it's just people aren't going to be able to predict what's actually going to happen. They're going to get some right. You can't lose them all, but they're not going to get them all right. That's almost impossible. Yeah, New Jersey, look at that state. Anybody think that was going to get down to 6 for Harris? I didn't. I mean, Trump defied the conventional wisdom. I mean, it seemed like the rhetoric was going to drive away Hispanic voters, but the other, it was the other way. Now, of course, some of that is Biden was in office, inflation shot way, way up. Plus, he was old and he handled that poorly. And the border, that's all stuff that was against Biden. It wasn't just Trump had outsider rhetoric and it wasn't just all his personality. Because if it was, then those voters would be sticking with Trump now that he's in office. But I think policy is going to matter. Well, yeah, there's not a ton of chatting in here, so I'm able to actually read almost every comment. And yeah, seeing some regulars in here, some new people, and however you found this channel. I mean, anybody have any great stories how you found the channel? Just you're searching one day, anything unusual. You heard about it from somebody, somebody said, hey, check this channel out. Popular vote was close. I didn't even think Trump was going to get it. Him winning it by 1.5, that was surprising. Yeah, there's just too much movement with Hispanics to the right, and the urban areas moved. The drop off for Harris was just too much. I didn't think Trump was going to get the popular vote. I thought he was going to lose it by probably one or two, but he won it by one or two. Yeah, I mean, if Hispanic vote probably seems like if it's going back to the left, to the same place it was prior to 24, then yeah, like I said, Henry Cuellar could be winning that Senate or the House seat in South Texas. Vicente Gonzalez, those are seats Republicans were hoping to pick up, but now I think they got ahead of themselves. They just all of a sudden, after one election, they said, "Hey, we're going all in on Hispanics voting for us." And I think they should have maybe given it two elections just to confirm. You saw the video about the last time each state voted for a Democrat. Oh yeah, we did talk about that. How'd you find it though? Was it just suggested, or you were trying to look up something about that topic and you came to it like that, or was it recommended, or what is it? You don't remember how you found this? You've been watching for a while. First time into chat. Okay, usually there's some new people every time, but you found it somehow. Somehow works. You saw the state trend videos, presidential races in 24. Gotcha. Vote totals between Republican and Democrat are almost identical. Yeah, there you go. You're right. You're out if you use AI. You mean to make the videos or to get suggestions? Because I don't know if you know if I use it to get suggestions. But I know there's a range of AI stuff. Sometimes it's so cringe. The AI slop. It's just nobody wants that. State of Texas, large number of Hispanics who don't vote. Uh, sure. Yeah. Okay. I agree with that. Not as left as in California. Okay. It was recommended. Okay. So nobody had somebody call them up and say, "Hey, you got to check this channel out. This is completely mind blowing. You got to get on there right now." No, nothing like that. Um, I don't. How many other channels even know about this channel? And I mean, like more than just that it exists. You know, are the big channels like? Do they care at all about this, or this is just like noise to them? Higher enthusiasm to turn out the Dems. Yep. If anybody's actually been watching since 22, the first year, that's impressive. Because the first year, especially the first 6 months, almost nobody was here. Granted, the videos were not as high of quality, but there was a few people that subscribed in the early days, and whoever they are, I don't know if they're still around if they watch, but those are the like the original, the OG subscribers. You think it's cringe to use? Come up with ideas. Okay. Twitter leftists, they hate it even more. Okay. Wasn't totally aware of that. Yeah, Bernie Sanders. How'd you find the channel? You might have been around back then. Let's hear the story. You seen all 1,600 videos? um, I mean, all these ideas, pretty much come up with them on my own. Some other channels have told me I've inspired them. The spinners. the coin flips, they have decided to do the same thing. They've let me know that they saw me do it. So that's kind of cool. It's kind of neat to see some inspiration for those. But it's tough doing the channel. I'm sure a ton of channels, they start, they have high hopes. Then after a month or two, they just give up because it's easy to give up. Uh, okay. So it's really kind of slow here. Um, Still waiting on Dallas County. Okay. You saw the videos pop up. Other people like Golden Cat and PMS. Politics Made Simple, right? I remember them. Or Let's Talk Elections, but I like how different channels offer different things. Uh, I'm the only one that goes live on election results. Really? Isn't Let's Talk Elections? It doesn't he do streams anymore? I usually hear him and Red Eagle Politics, like the kind of the two sides, but high channel subscribers. Usually they're streaming, I thought. But then I heard LTE kind of went into hiding after the election. I don't know what's going on. But it's always nice. People want to spend the time here, and whatever it is this channel offers, some unique voice or coverage of these results. I did just wrap up a spinner battle last Saturday. If anybody's into that, that's always exciting. Of course, it's a nice break from the grind of, everyday politics. Uh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so he came back. All right. So we're just waiting around here. So we're gonna do another 4 years on the channel. We're gonna double it up, do 8 years, or there's no chance. Who can do this for 8 years, right? I mean, if the stats stay the way that they are, in 4 years from now, I'm gonna be at like 6,000 subscribers. It's gonna be nothing. It's gonna be like 6,500. I mean, it's a joke, really. I'm gonna have 3,000 videos and only 6,500 subs. I mean, some channels take off. Other people do other things. I know they've got way less content and they've got way more subscribers. So whatever. I don't know. They do different thumbnails. They do different keywords. They do networking. I get it. Still. Okay, this is not a lot of action here. Let's go back here. See what we've got. Okay. Half of Republican votes have been reported in Dallas County. There's been mass confusion over where voters were supposed to cast ballots. Okay. Okay, the political implications of Texas's redistricting gambit are spilling beyond the five new Republican-leaning districts. Republican Dan Crenshaw, Republican, saw his Houston area district take on a far more conservative area. Okay. James Talrico leads by a comfortable margin, but the lead will markedly shrink. Well, if it markedly shrunk, then I mean, he doesn't have a huge lead right now. To overcome the deficit, Crockett needs to win Election Day vote by a wide margin. Okay. So still, I don't think is anybody following this. Nobody's following this AG race. And Chip Roy, he's not the guy. Tony Gonzalez ahead by 5 in the 23rd. Ooh, it's getting even tighter here in North Carolina's 4th. That's narrow. It's like Ojeda has got that one. Okay. Okay, here we go. Dallas County. Now Crockett. She's up 23 points here, 61% in. Yeah, Talrico, it narrowed, but not enough. Let's see. Did that do anything to the market? Let's check on Paxton. He's down to 67. Cornyn is making a comeback. Talrico's still at 99. So, okay. All right. Where was I? You wish you would not lose interest, but probably because of new responsibilities. I mean, still younger. Maybe I get kids in 8 years. I get to go and you get busy. Yeah, I mean, stuff comes up. I mean, and that's definitely true. Uh, unlike still young, unlike the real Bernie Sanders, who's in his 80s. As long as we still have free and fair elections, you could still make videos. Well, I mean, it's there has to be all this time I've sunk into this. There has to be more payoff. It doesn't have to be some huge payoff, but there has to be more payoff than this to sink this much effort into something when I've got other things going on, and I might have even more stuff going on. So if eventually, you know, life takes over, might not be able to focus on this channel. It's a possibility. There's things could be happening. How's Talrico doing the rural area? Okay, the rural areas. Yeah, he's leading, not massively, but he's leading. Yeah, Bernie Sanders is actually, yeah, he doesn't really seem like he's that old. That I mean, like Biden, right? He's slightly older than Biden, right? And he seems like he's 10, 15 years younger, 25 years younger than Biden. But he seems pretty good. He seems like he's like maybe 65, but he's in his 80s. Yeah, that's true. Bernie does not seem to be aging. He seemed like he was probably old 20 years ago, but he seems similar. Yeah, McConnell, he does seem pretty old. Okay. Like, what is happening in these counties where they're at zero? All of these counties, they've had a couple of hours and they're just at zero. And other ones are at 60, 95%. That's funny that this no name candidate won Loving County. That's funny. Yeah. And yeah, I know people thought, I guess they did think he was old, like McCain in '08, you know, they were branded as old, but I mean, it's one thing, yeah, to be old, but are you actually acting that old? And yeah, Bernie never seemed to be old. Doesn't seem it now. You didn't miss much. We finally got Dallas County in here for Crockett, and she's at 70%. The gap has narrowed, but it's not by enough. Other than that, this is just slow counting. It's just really dragging out. Nothing here for Colin Allred, and Tony Gonzalez is ahead by about 4.5. And Dan Crenshaw, I mean, can he come back from this? Doesn't look like it. It's down by 18 points. Texas Supreme Court has blocked a Dallas judge who ordered county polling places to be kept open 2 additional hours after complaints from voters who were turned away from voting for polling places in confusion. The higher court now says votes cast by voters who were not in line to vote at 7 p.m. should be separated. Okay, that's important. Citing the confusion, Jasmine Crockett said at her watch party it was unlikely that a winner will be known tonight for the Democratic primary. Is that affecting the market at all? No, not at all. As you Crockett, not only does she have one, she's not even underneath Talrico. She's all the way at the bottom here. You have to hit show more unpredicted. That's kind of funny. Let's see. How about okay? Cornyn continues to mount a comeback. What's going on here in Kentucky? Daniel Cameron, he's not going to be the guy. That's interesting. Anyway, all right, 59% and 56%. Yeah, Talrico held the lead. I don't, a lot of states are perpetually slow, except for Florida and a few others, but it does seem to drag in a lot of states. Yeah, Kentucky, no point looking at that yet. That was for the Senate. Okay. So Crockett projecting confidence that the results are not going to be known tonight, but the market says otherwise. If we could just get the rest of the vote in. Now the Supreme Court is saying that you got to separate the votes out after 7 p.m. Now that's going to create a whole mess. This could just drag on and on. Oh yeah, Arizona is really they're slow. California is brutal. They're horrendous. Well, I don't know what's left here. I mean, I don't know how long this is going to take to get the rest in. I mean, we're getting these tiny trickles of votes. It's just so slow. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how long to keep the stream going. I mean, I'll go a little bit longer, but I mean, if this is just going to take, another 2 hours to get another 10% in, that's completely unsatisfying. We do have El Paso in here now, and Cornyn is in the lead there. Okay, Talrico leading big time here. It says Bernie Sanders won this primary here in 2020. Still 50% here. I mean, this is not moving at all. Coming up on 3 hours on the stream. Maybe 4 hours for 4 years of the channel. That might make sense. But we'll see what happens. I mean, this is just so tedious. And it's not a packed stream. You know, there's advantages to that, but 13 people. That is kind of low. I mean, I've had over 200 in a stream before, but I don't know how that happened. Yeah, I think people want the results. It doesn't have to be in 5 minutes, but we don't want to sit here for 7 hours and then more trickles in for the next 6 days, and it just it goes on and on. All right, the outstanding vote, yeah, it's a ton. Anything here? Nothing for all red. Ooh, look at this. Now it's getting real narrow. Less than 1,600 votes. Let's see if there's any news. Okay, we already read that. Gina Hinojosa is the nominee to face Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott, is he going to win a fourth term? Probably, but you can't totally get complacent if you're Abbott. Here's another example where Loving County did not support the winner. I don't know what they're doing there. How will Michael Watley do in November? I'd say he's more likely to lose. My guess is if it were right now, he'd lose by 2 or 3 points. Now, what's going to happen in 6 months, 7 months? He could lose by more. He could possibly eke it out. He could do it, but I think that Cooper is just Cooper in this environment. He's the guy for the Dems. It's not guaranteed Cooper's going to win, but he's certainly got higher name ID. He's a stronger candidate than Watley. Yeah, I know. Loving County, smallest county in the U.S. Yeah, ranked choice can slow down the pace for sure. I mean, it'd be nice to watch like a stream of the vote counting or some like instant updates as to what's happening by the minute. Because nothing. Williamson County, it's just let's see. Okay, Steve Toth has defeated Dan Crenshaw according to Dave Wasserman. And Cornyn and Paxton advanced to the runoff. And Wasserman says Talarico has won the primary. Kalawao County, yeah, that I know what you're saying, but that is in my video on least populous counties in the U.S. But I forgot what it is about Kalawao. Loving County is always branded as like the least populous county, and I can't remember what the difference is now. I mean, it could just be in the lower 48, but I thought it was just period. Okay. Lori Buckout has one nomination, and North Carolina's first. Okay. She's going to take on Don Davis in a rematch in this newly configured district that got a lot redder. Trump won the district, but Davis crossed over. He's got the crossover vote. So he won in the House. Okay, Mays Middleton and Chip Roy advanced to the runoff. Apparently, Chip Roy doing better in South Texas. And tiny trickle of votes 57, 60%. Nikki Haley. Yeah, haven't heard her name in a while. Wonder what she's up to. Chip Roy, he's going to the runoff. Dems could be possibly avoiding a runoff. It's just like every minute we get a few hundred more votes. I wish we could get a big vote dump. Still stuck on 50 here at Dallas County. Yeah, there was not anything really going on against Abbott in that primary. 5-2. Is that in the governor's race? So yeah, what's Wesley Hunt gonna do now? Where are his voters gonna go? Probably more to Paxton, but let's see who will win the nomination. Where are we at here? Cornyn. Cornyn is the guy. He's regained the lead. What happened here? If Cornyn is now favored, even in the runoff. Now it's not overwhelming, but still. Okay. Okay, the race for governor, Loving has four-way tie. Gotcha. Wesley Hunt, in his speech, did not endorse either Cornyn or Pat. He could endorse them later, but yeah, he didn't do it right now. But would support either in November. Okay, yeah, that's standard politics. Nikki Haley's son all of a sudden come out talking in politics. I thought, now that you mentioned it, I think I did hear something about her son, but that was like 2 months ago. Um, like what is going on in these counties? Are they just there's not even anybody in these counties? Are they gonna seriously take hours to count like a few hundred votes? Uh, I wish I had something more exciting here, but this is kind of it. Um, this might be a good time to take another quick 1 minute break. Okay. So I guess we'll go for a little bit longer here, but I mean, this is very anticlimactic. This is totally unexciting. Paxton crushed George P. Bush in the AG primary. Oh, okay. Oh, Bernie Sanders, you're taking off. All right, have a good night. Thanks for stopping by, as always. And yeah, I vaguely remember that. George P. Bush, he was supposed to be this up and comer for the Republicans, carrying on the Bush legacy. And he was like land commissioner, something like that, right? Railroad commissioner, one of those. And eventually, yeah, he got defeated. I don't know what's left to see here. Let's again take a look at predicted. Okay, getting a little closer now. Um, Now we've got something here. Colin Allred is ahead of incumbent Julie Johnson. Look at this district. Look at the shape of this thing. It's crazy. Okay, a couple of updates. Results finally coming in from Dallas County with 60% in. Jasmine Crockett is trailing. She does a strong showing in Dallas County, where most of her congressional district is. However, Dallas County also includes many suburban white voters. Okay. $61. Um, Last November, elections were more exciting. Wisconsin Supreme Court went through much faster. Okay, did it? Oh, this is really, really slow. Um, but yeah, is Cornyn gonna win the runoff? That's the question. The markets now are showing Cornyn. I guess it's close now, very close. But Cornyn is not done yet. That's for sure. Again, I hope at some point there's going to be a big vote dump. I mean, it just can't go on like this. We're 500 votes a minute coming in. So yeah, anybody else has anything to say, this is the appropriate time. We've got 4 years of the channel. We've got Texas primaries, a couple other states. With not a ton of people in here, you get to have a more intimate conversation. Um, could Texas flip blue? How about that? It's not impossible. It was a possibility in 18. It didn't happen. But in 2026, it, It could be another 18 where it's competitive for the Senate. For governor, probably a little less competitive, but still not impossible. Of course, yeah. Let's get these votes counted. Just sitting here. And yeah, it's close. The total number of votes between the Dems and the Republicans, it's a similar amount. Yeah, again, if the recap here is Cornyn and Paxton are headed to a late May runoff. Tallarico looks like he has defeated Jasmine Crockett, but the vote count has totally slowed down to nothing. She's confident that she could defeat Abbott. Well, that's nothing. And yeah, I mean, everybody has to express confidence, right? Everybody says they're going to beat everybody. Okay. Paxton about five in the general. Gotcha. R plus two. Wasn't it like two and a half to three? I don't know. Maybe it was two. Not that it really matters when you're talking about a half a point. But Tallarico is, see, Beto was more of an exciting fighter type. Tallarico, that's not him. He's the measured, milder, you know, moderate approach. There's nothing exciting about him unless you're just captivated by his personality. Oh, now they've got it called for Cornyn, at least making it to the runoff. Okay. Oh, now Paxton back on top. All right. Some of these have been sitting here for like more than an hour with no updates. And it's called for Paxton now, advancing. Um, oh, okay. Arkansas, there's something we haven't talked about. Liberal is overperforming, down by 11 instead of 30. Yeah, see, this is, I don't know what people want in politics anymore. They want to be in power, but then have the other side have momentum and make gains? Or do they want to be out of power and be the ones making those gains? I mean, everybody wants to get in power, but as soon as you get in power, it's like the other side is coming right back. So it's tough to know what's more satisfying. It's like the only way you can win is by having lost before, it seems like. 60% now in. I mean, at this rate, it's going to take a week and a half to get to 100%. I could see maybe one county having nothing in, but there's so many counties. They've got nothing and they've got no votes to count. There's just not many. Uh, we'll see what Hunt does after this as well. Doesn't seem like he's ready to retire from politics. But he only got 12%. That's not that much. Now Cornyn back on top again. Okay. Oh yeah. South Texas here, Tallarico. He did clean up. And yeah, I guess how many of these black voters that came out for Crockett are gonna want to be as enthused to come out for Tallarico? The Tallarico, he seems like he has that moderate appeal. He's non-threatening. And Ken Paxton got impeached, but he got acquitted in the Senate. Thanks a bunch for the 4 years. Appreciate it. Okay. Vote Hub saying his performance with Hispanics is what kept him close in Houston. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, 9 points. Isn't that what it was like an hour and a half ago? Like 65% in. I mean, this is just not exciting at all, as I've said multiple times. Okay. I can tell you now people have been disenfranchised. Jasmine Crockett told at her watch party before explaining the confusion around polling locations in Dallas County today and criticizing a Texas Supreme Court decision that votes cast by voters who were not in line by 7 p.m. be separated. Well, they just said separated. They're not saying they're not counting them at all. And I'm not even sure there was confusion. Yeah, I'd have to hear more about that, but Okay, 61% in. So yeah, that could hold Crockett's total back a little bit if she's not going to get some of these votes that were extended past the poll closing. That was a couple of hours. So if those are separated out and they're going to lean toward Crockett heavily, then who knows what's going to happen? Thanks for the 4 years. Appreciate it again. Never gets old. Early 2020s to the mid 20s. Fast. Yeah, time flies. The New Deal coalition was strong, but those days are over. People keep going back and forth between the two parties. You found the channel last year before 24. You like it? Level headed. Nice part of the routine to check in for a new vid every day. Fantastic. Very nice. Nice summary there. Short and sweet. Last year, you forgot it's 26. Yeah, hey, that happens. So yeah, I don't know how long we're gonna go for here. I'm gonna go at least another 4 minutes, but I mean, this could just go on for hours, and I've got other things I'd rather do, and I'm sure people are probably headed off to bed. Whatever. I'm gonna have to make a summary, do a video summary on this election at some point. Got to squeeze that in. That should be tomorrow's video, and that should be a quick one because I don't want to do a 7 minute recap on only a couple of highlights. I know there's more down ballot. I don't know how much people care about this. Um, yeah, I mean it's just taken way too long. I mean, and I mean if it was packed in here, if we had 100 people, 150, yeah, it'd be nice to sit here, catch up on more of the conversation. But I mean, so many counties have zero votes in, and who knows when it's going to happen. And again, the markets here, Cornyn and Paxton tied at 49. So who knows what's going to happen in that runoff? It's way too early. And again, I don't know when the next stream is going to be. It maybe 2 weeks for Illinois, but it could be after that. I don't know. There might not be anymore. It's just so hard for me to know what's happening, and I don't want to promise something that's not going to happen. Black vote in Texas is only so large. You need more of that to get Crockett over the top. Coalition voting. Yep. Well, Crockett did win a lot of these counties here. Let's see. Any more updates? 4 updates. Okay. Cornyn and Paxton headed to a runoff in a bitter primary. All right. Cornyn called Paxton a deadweight. Okay. Early voting starts May 18th. Texans do not register by party, but if a voter casts a ballot in their party's primary, they cannot switch parties for the runoff that year. Well, yeah, keep that in mind. Yeah, the 20 primaries with MJ Hager and Royce West. Yeah, that was close. but that did go to a runoff. Yeah, gotcha on those dynamics. Well, let's take one last update here in Paxton now. I kept back on top in the markets. So this is where we're at. Tony Gonzalez, he's in the lead. Dan Crenshaw looks like he's done. And this North Carolina race, pretty close. Colin Allred is in the lead. And it's going to be Cornyn and Paxton in a runoff. Talarico looks like he's got it for the Dems. And I think we're going to have to wind this thing down. I think we got all the action in. Not enough going on here to keep it going, but we got the results we're going to get. And that's going to be the 4 years, the celebration, the anniversary, plus Texas primary, as well as the other March 3rd results. So I think, I have to appreciate everybody that stopped by. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Always join if you want to help support the channel, donate, super thanks, super chat, whatever you want to do. It's all appreciated. I don't know what's going to happen next, but this is it for the March 3rd stream, 2026. So have a great night. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you on the next stream.